Hi, I'm Derek Fitzgerald, one of the owners of Paisley Wines, and obviously I'm the winemaker as well. I'm here in the lovely Barossa on a lovely spring day. Sun is shining, and here to talk a little bit about Paisley Wines. So Paisley Wines, we started a few years ago. It's obviously a very strong passion of ours. We're very enthusiastic. It's only Kirsten and myself, so we're very enthusiastic to produce very small batches of wine of very high quality. So basically within our range we have the DJ Deadly, the Fabric, and then we also have a reserve. As far as the winemaking goes, as I mentioned, we use very small batches of wine, fermented, hand-picked, fermented in small batches. We use minimal intervention, so really we're trying to let the grapes speak for themselves and shine through the flavours of the vineyard. So we basically get small batches, wild ferments, they go through ferment naturally. We pump them over a couple of times a day. Sometimes we use some whole bunch depending on the variety. Extended maceration, we use many techniques to make the wines more interesting, more complex, to add some variety to the wines, make them a little bit different from other people's wines. And they all go into these lovely barrels that you see. So generally after we've pressed them, they come into these barrels. They sit there for 18 months to 2 years, slowly maturing away, in which time we look after them, top them, and then when we're ready to bottle, we empty the barrels and send it down to bottling. We use minimal fining, no filtration. So really the idea is to preserve all the natural characters and flavours of the grapes that we get from the vineyards. So Paisley Wines really focuses on the main varieties of the Barossa, that being Shiraz, Grenache and Mataro, grapes that have been traditionally grown in the Barossa for many years. We have numerous vine ages that we get the grapes from as well. But the main thing is, it's those varieties and also a Riesling and a Fiano from Adelaide Hills. But we really focus on the main varieties because we believe that's what Barossa traditionally does best. So, as mentioned, we do a Shiraz and a Grenache and a Mataro and a blend of all three. Just here I have our 2018 Paisley Velvet Grenache. So with a Grenache, it's picked from one of our growers' vineyards. They're 70-plus-year-old vines, so very old vine, very low yielding. So with the low yields, we get amazing flavours, aromas. So really, we don't have to work the wines too hard. So really, you can see it's quite more of a crimson red, so a bit lighter in colour, quite spicy, full, rich. So with the Grenache, as mentioned before, we do a lot of whole bunch, so probably about 30% whole bunch with the Grenache. I do 3 or 4 different batches, so that means we can do different things on the different batches to make a more complex wine. Part of it is left on skins for up to 2 months, so that actually adds to the texture and flavour. So with this Grenache, even though it's got lovely fruit, lovely flavour, it's also about the texture and the mouthfeel. So we really want the wine to go well with food, and what helps it do that is the tannins in the wine and the texture. So yes, lovely bright, lifted cherries, bit of sarsaparilla, some spices. On the palate, lovely, rich, a bit of creaminess. We put it in the old barrels, leave it there for 18 months, so it gets a little bit of creaminess from the barrels. And I really think it's a delightful drink and one of my favourites to make. So I hope you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Kirsten from Paisley Wines and welcome to our barrel shed. I'm coming to you from our beautiful little vineyard in Anguston in the Barossa Valley. Derek, my husband, has been a winemaker for over 20 years and we decided to make wine for ourselves in 2016. We actually came up with the name Paisley Wines because my great-great-grandfather came from the little town of Paisley in Scotland, which is very close to Glasgow, in 1839. So 1836 is when Adelaide was actually settled, so very early days. He didn't come out anything to do with the wine industry. It was all about farming back in those days. We decided to make wine in 2016 and actually kept all of our wine in barrel. It was all red wine for 1 year. And so in 2017 we started selling. So we've only been going for 3 years. We actually now have a couple of whites in our range, which is really exciting, especially because I'm a Riesling lover. We have a Fiano, we have some Shiraz, Grenache and Mataro. Obviously the reds are really, really important up here in the Barossa. Here in our vineyard we actually have Shiraz. It's about 25 years old. The vineyard has been around for quite a while, obviously. But we have planted some Fiano and Mataro in the last year. So the Fiano that we've been getting for our brand since 2018, which is our linen Fiano. This is actually from the Adelaide Hills. It's an Italian varietal. We also make Riesling. So it's our 2018 Cashmere Riesling. Cashmere actually has an interesting name, partly to do with the history of Paisley. Paisley was a textile town. So in the 17 and 1800s, merchants were leaving India and bringing beautiful cashmere shawls to Scotland and England to sell. But they were very expensive because cashmere was very dear. So the town of Paisley, being a textile town, actually started making cheaper versions in wool. And so, because they were copying these beautiful Paisley designs, the town of Paisley actually gave its name to the pattern. Cashmere is actually what the French call the pattern, the Paisley pattern that we know. So this is actually almost the Paisley Riesling. So this is our Cashmere Riesling. All of our linen range are named for fabrics as a little ode to the town. So we have velvet Grenache, silk Shiraz, denim Mataro as well.
So another one of our fantastic wines is the Paisley Cashmere Riesling. 2020 is the first year we've done it, so pretty happy because we've been wanting to do a Riesling for a long time. Kirsten's favourite white variety, so if we don't sell it, Kirsten can drink it. But really with the Riesling, so we get it again off a grower's vineyard, not very far from our own vineyard in the Eden Valley. The good thing about Eden Valley is it's got altitude, so it's high, quite cool, gets quite cold at night, so you're retaining those lovely delicate flavours of Riesling, so you're getting the lemons, the limes, the citrus, but also you're retaining that acidity, which is really important for a Riesling. So this Riesling we're very happy with. It's come out tops in a wine state tasting out of about 30 odd Riesling, so we're pretty chuffed for our first effort at Riesling. But yeah, it's a very easy wine to make. We're really just crushing the grapes as quickly as we can after picking, settling the solids out, and then just a nice neutral yeast just to retain the fruit characters of the wine, and then basically stabilise it and bottle it. So yeah, we're very happy with this wine, and I think it's already been a bit of a favourite with people who's tasted it. So really excited to have this wine released in time for summer this year, and goes extremely well with obviously seafood, oysters and those sort of things. So yes, it's a lovely wine, and I know you'll enjoy it.